Here are a few things that can cause you to weight loss stall on the carnivore diet. The first is eating too much salt. A high salt diet can in 5 days cause you to be insulin resistant. Check out video 12 on my blog. Dr. David Perlmutter referred to a study that proved that a high salt diet can in 5 days cause you to be insulin resistant. The second thing that can cause you to be insulin resistant is having too high uric acid levels. Our bodies can produce fructose from glucose. This is called the polyol pathway. The polyol pathway is triggered by too much salt as well, but it's also triggered by high uric acid levels. Check out video number 12 on my blog, where Dr. David Perlmutter tells about his new book that is about uric acid. Of course, as carnivores, we don't consume fructose, but we can still experience higher levels of uric acid, and you should absolutely address this if you struggle with weight loss stall. As I said, high uric acid levels trigger the polyol pathway to produce more fructose from glucose. Now, our bodies can produce glucose from proteins by the pathway of gluconeogenesis. So our bodies are capable of making glucose from proteins. So this survival mechanism is triggered, and it basically tells the body, get ready for starvation, get ready for a famine. And that is the reason why the body starts to produce fructose from glucose, and it puts the fructose into fat, and that is how a fatty liver develops. So if you are still drinking cold drinks or still eating fructose in any shape or form, you will still be insulin resistant. Another factor is alcohol. Alcohol will absolutely trigger the pathway for your body to produce fructose from glucose. In video number 12, Dr. Perlmutter testified that wine is better than hard liquor, and the worst of them all is beer, because of the high purine content. But wine can actually help with reducing gout or reducing high uric acid levels in women, according to a specific study. But hard liquor is absolutely bad for your uric acid levels. So as I said, alcohol will absolutely trigger you to become insulin resistant, because it triggers the pathway for our body to produce fructose from glucose, and the glucose and the fructose goes to uric acid, and again it's a vicious cycle. So you either have gout or you have other problems, high uric acid levels in the body is associated with an all-cause mortality of more than 16%. And for every percentage that you are above the normal range for acidity, the all-cause mortality goes up quite dramatically, even with 15% at a time. So there's a few other statistics that is also very interesting and quite shocking, and that is, for instance, that the risk of heart disease is 38%, the mortality risk, if you have high uric acid levels. The risk of stroke, of dying from stroke, is 32% if you have high uric acid levels. So what is considered to be high uric acid levels? It's important to note that Dr. Perlmutter say normal is not optimal. Normal is 7 on the scale of acidity, but he say we should absolutely get it under 5.5, because above 5.5 all these risks that I've mentioned come into play. There's also a 55% risk of Alzheimer's if you have high uric acid levels. There's also a vascular component. With other words, it inhibits the arteries and the veins from being able to stretch. So this means that people that have high uric acid levels struggle with vascular problems, and this is also a risk for heart and for erectile dysfunction. So men that suffer from high uric acid levels has a high risk for heart problems and erectile dysfunction. So high uric acid levels trigger an enzyme that inhibits our ability to burn fat, and it actually triggers the body to store fat as a survival mechanism. That particular enzyme also downregulates metabolic function. So uric acid will let you store fat, it won't let you burn fat, and it will downregulate your metabolic function. And that is why people weight loss stall in many cases. If you exercise and you get rid of your high uric acid levels, you can actually stimulate the body to do the opposite. You then stimulate the enzyme AMP kinase. The other one was AMP dienase, which down-ratchet your metabolism. AMP kinase upregulates your metabolism, and it tells you to make your metabolism quicker, to burn more fat, and to use fat for your brain. AMP dienase tells your brain to use glucose and store more fat. Insulin resistance is the cause for uric acid to be retained in the kidneys, but it feeds into the same loop as I've explained. So you absolutely should give priority to get rid of high uric acid levels. Consider the carnivore diet if you are not already on it. And if you are on the carnivore diet and you struggle with weight loss still, look at your acidity levels, as well as cut back on your salt intake. Overeating of salt can cause you to be insulin resistant in 5 days. Eating a low salt diet can actually cause your body to make more mitochondria. So it triggers the body mitochondria neurogenesis. So your cells make more mitochondria. And mitochondria are the energy source of the cells. So it speeds up your metabolism. And that you achieved by eating a low salt diet. You can speed up the body's mitochondrial function, mitochondria neurogenesis, by eating a very low salt diet. See video number 12 on my blog. Dr. David Perlmutter explains. As I said before, you can become insulin resistant by eating a very high salt diet within 5 days. So the opposite is true. If you eat a very low salt diet, you trigger mitochondria neurogenesis, the production of mitochondria. Mitochondria are the energy source of cells, so this will speed up your metabolism. Another thing that you can consider for weight loss still on the carnivore diet is to check out or have a complete hormonal panel done, especially the thyroid hormone, but also the adrenal hormone. In video number 123 on my blog, Amy Berger talks about the thyroid, and of course we know that the thyroid hormone has got to do with weight loss stall and people not being able to lose weight, but it also has many other complications. For instance, constipation, depression, hair loss. But in that video she mentioned that doctors often miss certain things, and these are the things that they miss. In most cases, doctors will test for T4 and thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. They will not test for T3, which is the most potent thyroid hormone. And the reasoning behind that is, they say that if you have enough TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and if you have enough T4, then there should be enough T3, and this is not always the case. As I said, T3 is the more potent hormone. The thyroid actually produces very little T3, but the body elsewhere manufacture T3 from T4 hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone is actually not produced in the thyroid, but it's produced in the pituitary gland. So the feedback loop is believed to control how much thyroid stimulating hormone is produced. With other words, if there is enough T4, the pituitary gland will not produce more thyroid stimulating hormone. So the doctors only check for those two hormones. The trouble is, as Amy Berger explains, what if the T4 levels are normal, the TSH levels are normal, but you still don't have enough T3? Something else is wrong. So what I say is, discuss this with your doctor. Check out video number 123 on my blog, so that you can find the correct medication to help you. Another thing that Amy burgers say is that optimal is not the same as normal, or normal range of T4 or T3 is not the same as optimal, the optimal range. And the optimal range for you as a person is not the same as the normal range of TSH or T4 or T3 for anybody. So the doctor might tell you, don't worry, your thyroid hormone is within the normal range. But what if it's within the normal range, but it's not optimal for you? You still don't feel good. So check out video number 123 on my blog. Click the photo profile and find my blog link, carnivoreway.blogspot.com, or click the link in the description of this video.